can!
It's over!
He's done it again! Unbelievable!
Oh, straight into the roof of the net.
Nice one.
Straight down the middle. So a good performance from both teams here today.
Hi, you're watching Firstpost with me, Rupha Ramani. Let's get the show started. On the show today, the T20 Cricket World Cup is just weeks away, and one big concern, especially around the Indian cricket team, is what to do about Sanju Samson. And maybe Ishan Kishan's red-hot form is the answer. Now, I'll tell you how that thought could backfire. The most dramatic moment from the Australian Open was Coco Gauff defending her actions of smashing her racket in anger outside the courts in an area she thought was private. Now, while the world debates how broadcasters have become more intrusive and judging Gauff's moment of meltdown, we question the bigger concern here. The much talked about controversial AFCON final continues to be in the news. Why are Senegal fans breathing a sigh of relief despite a heavy punishment from CAF? I'll tell you more on that later on in the show, but first, the headlines on Sports 360. Starting with tennis, Aryna Sabalenka beat woman on a hot streak. Elina Svitolina in straight sets to make it to her fourth consecutive Australian Open final. Sabalenka will face the winner of the Elina Rybakina and Jessica Pegula semi-final game. On to Champions League, Mourinho's Benfica beat his former team Real Madrid. The Portuguese side pulled off a stunning win, pushing Madrid to the playoffs. Goalkeeper Antoli Trubin was the unlikely hero with a last-minute header against nine-man Madrid. Moving to women's cricket, Netherlands scripted history by making it to their first Women's T20 World Cup. The Dutch beat United States by 21 runs and they've won all three in the Super 6 stage. 10 teams have qualified for the 2026 edition that's going to be in England so far. 2 spots remain and Scotland, Ireland, USA and Thailand will fight for that. Moving to NBA, LeBron James' homecoming to Cleveland ended in a loss as Lakers suffered a 99-129 defeat to Cavaliers. Luka Doncic walked out with a twisted ankle in the middle of the game but came right back to finish with 29 points. And finally, Bangladesh shooters have been cleared to travel to India for the Asian Championships. The athletes will compete in 3 events in the country's capital, New Delhi. The Bangladesh cricket team, though, remains barred from the T20 World Cup that is set to take place in India and Sri Lanka. India begin their T20 World Cup title defense next month. And yes, it's a home World Cup, but the pressure, that's still sky high. The squad is picked, but that's just step one. The real test has begun, especially with the series against New Zealand providing us all a precursor to the main event. And the only question now on every fan's mind is who walks out to open with Abhishek Sharma come the World Cup. Will it be Sanju Samson, stylish, elegant, a player who can really turn good starts into massive ones, the player originally picked for the opening slot? Or Ishan Kishan, again, fearless, young, explosive, someone who can shift the momentum almost instantly. The batter who is slated at one drop, but has been almost essaying the opener's role in this series against New Zealand with Sanju Samson's repeated misses. So the question is this: does India stick with the batter who fits their vision or promote the one who's delivering at the moment? And most of all, can the under-fire management hold their nerves? Let's dive right in. Look, there's no sugarcoating this. Sanju Samson, the man backed by head coach Gautam Gambhir, and the management is struggling. After scores of 10, 6 and 0 in the first 3 games against New Zealand, every eye invested in Indian cricket has shifted to Vizag last night because Ishan Kishan was out with a niggle. So the stage was apt and perfect for Sanju Samson to step up, shut the noise and get some runs under his belt before that last stretch to the World Cup. But that didn't quite happen. Now he got the start, yes, looked decent out there, but out of nowhere, Mitchell Santner sneaked one through, one error, and suddenly the debate is louder than ever before. And here's the part we often forget, the part where the story flips. Yes, Sanju isn't among the runs, but the reason I want to keep him in this conversation and alive and kicking is the possibility that he brings with him. It's what he can achieve, because let's be honest, no other Indian has done what Sanju Samson has in T20 formats. He's the only player in the world to score 3 T20I tons in a calendar year. Those tons came in a span of just 5 matches, and he's also the first Indian batter to score back-to-back T20 centuries. And there's more. He's the first Indian wicketkeeper to cross 1,000 T20 international runs with a strike rate of 140 plus. That's not just skill, that's firepower there for you and proper match-winning potential. And let's not ignore another key aspect here. Abhishek, Ishan, Tilak in that lineup. It all means 3 left-handers stacked at the top. So Sanju, being that explosive right-hander, can counter the opposition and automatically becomes valuable in the mix. But let's keep that to the side here. The dilemma and debate is because of what the series against New Zealand has thrown up. A young batter in Ishan Kishan, discarded from the central contract earlier, now showing the hunger and will to perform. 76 of 32, 28 of 13, instant impact and a message that he's just as ready too. So the Indian think tank have 2 options here. One is easy, react and respond to what's going on and make those changes once again. Or the more difficult long game option, stick to a plan because there was a reason you wanted to. The reason you sat and picked this squad, this particular lineup and these very players for certain roles. More so now when the national setup is under pressure to perform and every selection call is being scrutinized and every loss is being put under the microscope. So exactly what former cricketer R. Ashwin also reflected on.
It's way too early to think of dropping him. If India keeps doing such circus acts by playing Sanju when he did well before and now Kishan because he's playing well now, I don't have to tell how it'll end for India. It's not ideal inside the dressing room. There is a lot of competition for places, but it's too early for this change.
I don't have to tell how that'll end for India. That's the point, isn't it? In sport like life, you always have 2 options. The easy one that comes with temporary solutions, the momentary fixes, and the tough one that truly tests your patience, the one that has benefits in the long run. Sanju Samson is a fearless, fiery opener who can completely wrestle the game away from any opposition. That's a given. And he works at the top of the attack. Sure, Ishan shows promise, but what energy and thought will you, as an Indian cricket team, a squad there, walk into a World Cup with? Will it be high on confidence and being back to deliver, or nervous and anxious about your spot in the team and that dissipating through the entire dressing room? Because one change can upset a whole narrative, an entire lineup. And that's something no sporting outfit wants before the big one, a World Cup. So can the management hold on to their nerves and play the long game? Or will they bow down to all the noise that's around? Tennis star Coco Gauff went viral. Now, I know what you're thinking. When hasn't she? She has sparked conversations from the moment she beat one of her idols in Wimbledon as a young 15-year-old. She was a trailblazer, so the eyes have been on her ever since. The price she's had to pay for being a bit of a tennis prodigy. Today, she's in the center of a raging chatter when a video of her venting her frustrations went viral. So the obvious debate that everyone has jumped on is why so much focus, why are there cameras just about everywhere, and why are broadcasters so hungry for every kind of footage? There's an additional question that I want to add to this mix. Why can't we just accept this act, embrace it, and simply move on? Now, Gauff is a charismatic player, a young talent who also brings that added factor of marketability. People love to watch her, they love her tennis. Simply put, her story sells. So needless to say, there's that extra layer of attention everywhere she goes and scrutiny on someone like Gauff compared to many other women tennis players in the circuit today. Where Gauff goes, viewership almost always follows. So obviously, her loss at the Australian Open is a loss to the sport too. Not seeing her in the last stages of the slam is a blow to the game. Gauff was disappointed in her own limp performance, where she caved in less than an hour. So what did she do? She did not want to show her frustration in front of a hugely packed Rod Laver Arena, in front of her doting fans, in front of young, impressionable kids who want to play like her, be like her. So she walked out of the courts into one of the pavilions inside and let it rip. She was angry with herself, she had to vent, and the only thing she could do is smash her racket. It was a private moment, or so she thought, that unfortunately went public.
I don't want to lash out on my team. They are good people. They don't deserve that. And I know I am emotional.
That's the bottom line there. While the world can pass judgment on her temperament, her lack of it, her tempers flaring, she's human after all, who's had the the cameras following her every move for years now, at a time when kids around her were still trying to find their feet and trying to figure life out.
I don't think it's a bad thing. Like I said, I don't try to do it on court in front of kids and things like that. But I do know I need to let out that emotion. Otherwise, I'm just going to be snappy with the people around me. And I don't want that because, like I said, they don't deserve it. They did their best, I did mine. Just need to let the frustration out.
That there is maturity. That's the perspective we need to be talking away from all of this. That there was nothing bad about it at all. Would she have liked this to be private? Of course. Does she have that choice? Unfortunately, no. I know Iga Swiatek was rather livid when all of this played out. Her reaction says it all. Are we animals in the zoo, she asks. And while I understand her frustration too, as a fellow tennis player, I'm saying that is not the debate we should be having. Rather, it has to be about why judge what you're seeing and vilifying that act at all. Gauff smashed a racket in frustration, so what? Why can't we normalize this? Gauff says she vented this way so she wouldn't end up snapping at her team, a team who have worked so hard for her with her. That's maturity, that's perspective, and that's showing sensitivity. And that's what kids actually need to hear. That's what they need to see. That's what you can learn from. Look, we're living in a world where you simply cannot escape the cameras. Fans want to know more about celebrities they just cannot meet. I mean, think about it. Parasocial was the word of the year 2025. What does that mean? A psychological bond where just about anyone feels a close, intimate relationship with a celebrity. That's the kind of times we're living in. So there's no fighting this. There's no way to turn it all around, and there's definitely no trying to change it. What we can surely do, though, and with certainty, is change the narrative here on. Coco Gauff is many things. She may break rackets, but she has come here this far, reaching dizzying heights after breaking barriers and that glass ceiling. And that's the story we need to tell. The AFCON is back in the news. Hosts and finalists Morocco wanted Senegal to pay. That final will not only be remembered for Sadio Mane's epic farewell, it will be most remembered for a final that had drama, conflict, and tarnished what all of Africa had worked for weeks building. A stunningly wonderful AFCON display. CAF now has come with their final ruling on the matter, and Senegal fans can breathe a sigh of relief. The controversial final will not affect their World Cup campaign, something that was critical for a country that is anyway reeling from a Donald Trump visa ban. Here's a report.
The 2026 AFCON final had everything. Host nation Morocco, former champions Senegal back on the biggest stage, and a packed stadium in Rabat. 90 minutes of tension, no goals and no margins for error. Then, deep into stoppage time, everything shifted. A lengthy VAR review and a penalty awarded to Morocco. Senegal erupted in anger. Players surrounded the officials. The bench lost control. And that moment changed the night. Cameras caught Senegal coach Pape Thiaw gesturing towards his players, and Senegal walked off the pitch. The condemnation was immediate.
When a coach asks his players to leave the field, what Pape did tonight does not honor Africa. It's not classy.
Sadio Mane called them back, and Senegal went on to script a historic win. Senegal rejoiced, but that is clearly short-lived. CAF has made its ruling on the matter. After calling the scenes unsporting and saying the final had been brought into disrepute, CAF has punished Senegal. Senegal coach Pape Thiaw has been given a 5-match ban. Players Iliman Ndiaye and Ismaila Sarr will serve a 2-match suspensions. And Senegal will cough up more than $600,000 in fines. Morocco were also punished for touchline disorder, for lasers from the stands, and for off-field misconduct around the VAR area. 2-match ban for Achraf Hakimi, 3-match ban for Ismail Saibari, fines totaling more than $300,000. But here's the part that will give Senegal some solace. Morocco's appeal against Senegal was rejected. Senegal's win stays.
Pour moi, il ne devait pas avoir de sanctions parce que
In my opinion, there should be no sanctions because the players corrected their mistake. They decided to leave the pitch, and after thinking it over, they said to themselves, well, that's football. You play, you win some, and you lose some.
Ils se sont dit que bon.
Here's what that ruling means. It is a small moral victory. Senegal was penalized, yes, but they were not punished. And that is what fans, players, Senegal Association would be most relieved about. The murmurs post the AFCON final, of Morocco getting its way, of Senegal possibly missing out on the big one, FIFA World Cup matches, was real. There was a lot of noise around Senegal being forced to pay the price for that momentary rush of blood. But this ruling by CAF has made one thing clear for all. Invested in the sport, a moment of emotions running high, of tempers flaring, and a hot-headed move cannot take away what Senegal rightfully earned. An AFCON victory that doesn't come easy, and that alone is a moment for Senegal to celebrate.
Time for last serve. When the Winter Olympics begins in Italy next month, ice dancers from rival nations will battle it out for top honors. But here's the twist. Many of them trained under one roof, the same ice in a quiet corner of Montreal, inside an academy that has now become the most powerful pipeline in Olympic ice dancing. Take a look.
For me, what makes this academy so special and us so lucky to be here is the fact that they care about who we are as humans. Yes, we're athletes, but we're more than that, and they really try to foster our individuality. They foster who we are, they bring out our best. Like the Lila that arrived here 10 years ago is so different than the Lila here today, and it's a testament to who they helped me become.
That wraps it up here on Firstpost. I'll see you again tomorrow. Till then, take care. Bye-bye.
The world doesn't fit in boxes, so why should your news? From battlefields to negotiation tables, from internet outrage to real-world injustice. The conversations everyone is having and the ones they're avoiding. It's the same show, but this new year, Firstpost America gets a new look. I'm Kerry Johnston, and this is Firstpost America.
Want the facts?
The latest developments?
News that gets straight to the point.
Well, we've got all three just for you. This is Firstpost Live, a brand new show, your window into what really matters.
Don't miss it.